So I had to go up to Seattle to do a thing for the fans. So we had a like town hall meeting. So there were about 300 people showed up. It was kind of neat. But I had one guy come up to me and say, "Coach, I need a favor." I didn't know who he was. I thought he was a media guy or something. He said, "Will you put this costume on?" And he gives me a Sea Dragons costume. He wanted me to wear this costume. I got to show it to you. You're going to laugh your butt off. And he wanted me to do a commercial, say something like, "When the Sea Dragons roar, come to town," and then something else. And I looked at him, I'm like, "Are you effing crazy? You think I'm going to put this thing on?"
You know, for me, being the St. Louis Battlehawks coach is just a phenomenal opportunity. You know, I think about my journey, guys, that got me here. You know, playing in the league for 12 seasons and learning from some great coaches. I mean, obviously, was lucky enough to play under the realm of Coach Haslett with the Rams. But really, it was after the game for me, you know, about like what I wanted to do moving forward. I got into the media for a decade, got to the college game, was able to learn a lot about college football. You know, when I was playing, I didn't really watch college. I didn't care about college, but got to know how the next generation of players are coming up, the coaching styles, the good, the bad, you know, and I tried to take in a lot of that information to help me grow. It was kind of like something I was gearing towards with the coaching phase. Opportunities were there for me to coach. And, you know, I just kind of sporadically, you know, kind of did different things. And really the last chapter for me was, you know, helping guys transition from retirement to the real world. You know, I had those one-on-one conversations with players. So understanding guys, communicating with guys, good times, bad times. You know, it's like dealing with players. It's being a head coach, you deal with a lot more than just X's and O's, right? So just really humbled to have this opportunity. And my route was a little different, but excited about this process and can't wait to get going.
I took the route, obviously, going to HBCU, Alabama State, and playing pro ball, and really got the coaching bug towards the end, like maybe this is something that I want to go into. So I kind of volunteered at my hometown, at my high school, and ended up getting the opportunity to coach at Alabama State. Extremely humble and blessed to be the head coach of the DC Defenders. Obviously, all of us have competed and played in the league, and watching guys like Jim, who've coached forever, right, for a long time. And
you look good, though.
Yeah.
I'll tell you. You look good.
But like you said, man, it was cool to be able to have good, solid coaches while you was playing that you can learn from, things that you took from them. And Richard Mann was our receiver coach, and he was a guy that was like, "Man, I think you should get into coaching," right? You know, towards the end of my career. So there in Tampa. So outstanding guy, great knowledge, and you know, he's definitely a guy that I learned a lot from. So excited about the opportunity to be able to compete against, you know, former players, Hall of Famers, Rookie of the Year guys like Jim and all that stuff. So yeah, just happy to be here.
Yeah, I did it a little bit different. I played in the NFL, you know, obviously. Just did some good things early before I got injured, a bunch of injuries, but I was, you know, like you said, I was Rookie of the Year and made All-Pro. The best thing I did, I made the Bills All-Time team. So I was kind of fired up about that. Good. Yeah, that, you know, that's changed now, but, and then didn't know, I graduated in elementary and I didn't know what I wanted to do. You know how you get lost, you play so long, like, I don't want to be a teacher. What am I going to do? And then I started watching a guy named Tom Catlin, who was a defensive coordinator for Buffalo. And I figured maybe I want to coach. So I kind of hung out with him at nights. And when I got done, I was blessed to have an opportunity to coach. I got Al Davis hired me. I was the last coach hired in the NFL. It was like February. You know, you don't get hired in February. So they were looking for a linebacker coach. I coached a couple of years there. Won a lot of games, got offered a defense coordinator's job with Jim Moore down in New Orleans, did that a couple of years, went to Pittsburgh, back home with Bill Cowher, which was, you know, anytime you get a chance to coach in your hometown and with a great team like that. And then went down as a head coach, back as a head coach in New Orleans. And you and I hooked up.
We did.
Yeah, I was a head coach of the Rams for a couple of years, and we had, you know, we struggled a little bit, but it was
I'm here to change all that in St. Louis. That's why they brought me in.
Yeah,
trying to get the vibe in a
St.
different
Louis-
direction, get winning.
St. Louis is a great football town. It's a shame that they don't have a team, an NFL team, and hopefully this will fill a void for that town.
Right.
I'm excited to go to Seattle because of all the success they've had in other sports. Pete Carroll's done a great job, and they got a great hockey team. They got a great soccer team. So the women's basketball, they do a lot of good things up there. So hopefully, we can carry on.
It's funny you were saying that because obviously Reggie moving up, doing his different paths up to this level, still kind of in that framework of a young rising coach. Myself getting into it, I was wanted to know what drew you at this point in your career. Hey, you've done so much, you've accomplished, you went all the way up from the bottom, sleeping in the offices with the coaches to becoming the head coach, and then you had that window of break. What kind of drew you? What was your interest in coming into the league? I mean,
well, you know what happened? I actually retired this year, and I lasted about a month, and my wife told me I was bored and everything, so besides working out, I don't know. I don't know what the real world's like. So if you do this so long, you're not really sure. So I thought it was a great opportunity, to go back and do this. And I'm having a blast doing it. And I think we put together a pretty good team. And I think it'll be fun to compete, against each other. And so that's kind of why I don't really know anything else, to be honest with you. This is what I've done my whole life, and you too. You guys basically, you've been in sports your whole life, and it's. I think it'll be a blast. It's gonna be fun to compete. And
the one good thing is we got a ton of film that we can go back in time and watch all his
you got
calls
some
and
film.
his blitzes.
All right.
There's not a lot, there's none on me, so you don't know what we're doing on our team. My two coordinators don't have much out
it was
there.
a funny day. I got a staff meeting, and we're talking about the schedule. And we played our first game is on a Sunday night, as you know, and you're playing Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
And then we got to turn around and play Thursday. So I said, well, and I was just messing around. I said, well, we'll watch the tape Monday afternoon. We'll have a walkthrough Tuesday, a walkthrough Thursday or Wednesday, and then we'll fly out and play the game. And they're like, how do you know the schedule? I'm like, I don't know. I've done it my whole life. So it's kind of, you just kind of wing it out there. And they're all looking at me. And I said, yeah, it'll be fun. I said, you're going to have one game.
One game to go off.
One game to go off.
How many games you go through when you're prepping? It's
I said, so there won't be a lot of, there won't be a lot. You'll look at the 60, 70 plays, whatever it is, and then we'll figure out what they're running Monday, and then we'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, and go play.
We open up with you guys there in DC, so should be exciting. I'm looking forward to the DC fans. I mean, our fan support. And I know many of the other teams, and like you mentioned, Seattle is a great sports town. Obviously, St. Louis, I know, those people.
Led the charge in 2020, man.
Right.
I'm excited.
So, and it's the same way in DC. The stadium, Aldi Stadium, is a real intimate type of stadium. Those fans have been fired up. We've been up there engaging with them. So really looking forward to the first game being there. And
well, I coached with the Redskins for a while, so, and I lived in that area. It's a good sports town.
Yeah.
Besides politics, everything else is pretty awesome. The people are nice, But the fan base in our three cities, and I've been to San Antonio too. The 1 year,
they're strong there.
It's going to be a great fan base for.
I think we got the best. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah. I know.
Not even. Listen, the first thing I did, when Danny Garcia and Dwayne and Jerry Cornell, they purchased the XFL, and that day was starting my journey. I'm like, I got to get this job. Didn't know anybody, didn't know how I was going to dive in. I tried to connect the dots. There's a few layover people that were still kind of with the league, and Russ Brandon was helping them out, but he wasn't quite with them. So I was trying to connect the dots. Going through that route was really cool for me because I don't think I was a guy that was on their radar initially.
Right.
Just my path but it's a vision you sell, right? It's something we've all been in leadership situations and the different places I've been, but I knew the XFL was going to be different than the NFL. I'm not going to sit there and try to interview for an NFL job and say, hey, I'm ready to do this. But those different things with what we're trying to really build around here with the opportunity. I was in a spring league a couple years in 2019. And I just felt like it was the purest form of coaching, right? The guys were hungry. I was actually thinking, like, that first team meeting, what were they going to be like? Like, are they going to be like, just they're not going to take it seriously? Like, they were dialed in, notepads, their pencils, phones were away. And when we broke away the tight end meeting, every one of my guys were like, Coach, how do we get there? How do we play 12 years? How do we do those things? They were hungry for the information. So that's what I think, which it's going to be great about this league. And then, of course, going to St. Louis, putting that YouTube on and watching the crowd in 2020. I mean, I couldn't believe the fans. It looked like that lower bowl, the way it was filled. Yeah. Face paint. They had the old, remember the Raiders used to have the shoulder pads with the spikes? They had those in the blue. I was like, man, this is going to be great. And, I'm big on social media. I know you're big on social media now. You got your accounts cranking out. Who would have thought, Coach Haslett would have had a Twitter account?
First, you got to know this.
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Right.
I do it. I don't do it. My daughter does it for me because I have no idea how to get on that stuff.
How many followers you up to now?
Like 10,000.
10,000.
You remember when Jim had 8?
8 followers, I do.
When he first started.
I did.
It's like I'm up to 20 now.
That's a good jump.
Now he's up. Yeah,
that's a really good
jump. I really, I check it out once in a while, but I don't want to read the negative stuff, so I don't do it. But it's kind of cool. All that stuff's kind of cool.
Well, that's a big part of engaging with the fan base. I don't mind. I mean, tweeting. They ask me questions. I want to engage with the fan base. I mean, the fans are going to make our league. The players. I want our players.
I do got one for you. So I had to go up to Seattle to do a thing for the fans. So we had a town hall meeting. Town hall, so there about 300 people showed up. It was kind of neat. But I had one guy come up to me and say, Coach, I need a favor. I didn't know who he was. I thought he was a media guy or something. He said, will you put this costume on? And he gives me a Sea Dragons costume. He wanted me to wear this costume. I got to show it to you. You're going to laugh your butt off. And wanted me to do a commercial, say something like, when the Sea Dragons roar. And I looked at him, I'm like, are you effing crazy? You think I'm going to put this thing on? He goes, oh yeah, do you put it on for me? I'm like, how'd you get in here? He wanted me to wear the Sea Dragons outfit.
They're passionate. I was shocked how
my
passionate
God.
I know you guys got a great fan base, when they were doing it as well.
Yeah. And that we had a few town hall meetings there in DC, and like you said, it was impressive to see football season going on, but they still coming for that type of energy that we had. So 200 or 300 people in there, jam packed, asking questions, excited about us being the defenders again, like it was before. So it was a good time.
I thought keeping the team names, at least for our place, were great. I mean, it was a great decision. Yeah. I think I got hammered. They weren't even like, okay, I got hired the day they announced me. All they're asking me is, what's the team name going to be? Are you going to keep the same colors? You can't change it. It'd be a tragedy.
All my friends are mad at me, by the way.
Why is that?
Because they wanted me to have that job.
Well, you got roots there.
Because I was with the Rams.
Yeah, of course.
And I got a lot of friends there.
Right.
So, but they're fired up to come to the game. So
we put them in the suite, so let them know. We'll make them accountable. They got to wear our shirts though. If you come play on our place,
I don't know about that.
That's not going to happen probably.
Yeah. It should be fun though, man. Have an opportunity to compete with the Texas teams. The Orlando teams. You got great coaches, Stoops, and get a chance to go up against T-Buck at some point.
No doubt.
So
I'm on the road though the first 3 weeks.
You know what I like most about it? You were saying something, because I did this once before when I first got done playing. I coached the United. We won the whole thing. We had a blast. We put, and this is what the exciting. You'll see this happen. Like I'll give you two players for instance. I took a guy named Mike Jones, who was a fullback at Tennessee State, and we made a linebacker.
Mike Jones.
And he made the game-winning tackle with the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Yeah. Played 14 years.
Dyson was the receiver. Who caught that ball?
Yeah, I think it was Dyson. And then we took another player who was a linebacker, made him a pass rusher. So we made him a defensive end, and he's the all-time sack leader in Seahawk history, Mike Sinclair.
Oh, wow.
So I think with this league, with the way the timing is compared to other leagues and the way it comes off, I think it's going to be a great league to help fund whatever these guys want to do later on, whether they want to move up and play to the next level or they just want to, play football. I think you're going to see really good football players that'll go to the next level.
Yeah.
How many thousands of players did we look at? I mean, just over this course with the
Those
showcases,
yeah.
and then the guys that got released in the preseason. Because I don't know how many head coaches in general in the professional leagues, they're not building a team from scratch.
Right.
We had to build it all the way from the bottom. I mean, build the depth and without really being able to see a lot of them, just utilizing their film and their tape. I mean, and I was talking about being on social media. How many guys were DMing me on Instagram and Twitter, like, Coach, look at my YouTubes. And in the beginning, I was like, yeah, I'll check these guys out. And then it started to get hundreds and thousands.
I watched all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to, because I want to give everybody a chance, right?
You never know.
You never know. You find that dime in the rough. And we're going to have a lot of guys. I mean, especially like the back end of our last, 10, 15 picks. We're really like, give these guys an opportunity. So I think this would be good, just like you said, just we can get them to a higher place possibly. But if they don't get there, with our staffs that we have in place, maxing them out and say, you know what, I didn't make it to the highest level, but they had a great time. They played in a great professional league, and they were developed the best we could
And the timing of it's better than any other leagues before. When you start and when the league is over, you have an opportunity to walk out and move into an off-season program, get up to date with all that, go to the meetings, don't miss anything, mini camps, yada, to have the best opportunity to play at the next level.
Right. Yeah, and I'm looking forward
You don't get
to it.
that in any of these.
Yeah.
It doesn't work out.
I agree. And that's the part I'm looking forward to, is the development of some of these guys. And, I mean, like you said, we went to all these showcases. You can see the grit of all these guys just wanting to make it. And now it went from seeing thousands of guys to, a few hundreds of guys, and now the draft, and just being able to develop these kids, and well, not kids, but young men, and if it's for them to get to the next level, with the staff that everybody's put together, I'm sure they'll have an opportunity to get there. So looking forward to that.
One of the things I think that's really unique about our league is just how ownership has trickled down to us, how important it's player first, right? Players, the fans, and making sure they not only get the development from us, but they get the development after the game. Some of the things that from a player engagement standpoint they're going to have for them, and then also player safety. Breakaway data information that we're going to have on these guys. We use that during the showcases to just, try to get the way their body structure is, the way they move and things, how they can gather that information and make it better for them. And, we talk about all the different, we're going to track their every movement with their harnesses on their bodies. And those are the things I think that are great, because, we can just put guys on the field, go play ball and then wrap it up, but we're going to have everything. And being in the hub too, I know that, just all of us, all of our doctors, everybody's in one place, so they can get kind of that treatment right there if they need it from if there's injuries and things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that's important. And obviously the league has recognized that with the whole onboarding thing. So it's not like we're just bringing them here and, hey, get a helmet and, just go and play. It's, giving them an opportunity to see where they are and what type of shape they're in.
I also think that the way they set up a lot of the rules, when I first looked at them, I'm like, kickoff from, the kickoff roll. And I thought, that's kind of weird. But actually, it's kind of cool. And then, the extra points. So they're actually, it's like, see if this works, will the other league take it?
Yeah.
Right.
So will they do the kickoff different? Can they do something? So I don't want to say we're guinea pigs, but we're kind of, I think they're kind of cool. All the rules
about
they have.
Innovation, right? Technology-driven, innovation-driven, officials. I mean, all those things.
The concussion, the headset they came up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
To determine whether the player can go back and play, or when he can go back and play. I think that's kind of neat. It takes a little long, so you better think about it as a coach what you're going to do. But in light of what's happened recently. I think all those things are great for the league.
Yeah, I agree. When you mentioned the kickoff, obviously the fans want to see you run the ball. They want to see action, right? So on that side, it's good that we'll be able to return. It was almost like 90-some% of the deals, but it's also safety precaution as well. So with the guys being 10 yards apart, so I'm looking forward to that part of it as well.
Yeah, I'm fired up about it. You know what? It's funny. It's we're talking about that they want up speed game. Well, you all know I hired June Jones.
Right. Okay.
Right.
He hasn't lost in the XFL yet.
Right.
So
He is up speed.
He's 5-0. Trust me.
Yeah, and then Ron Zook's going to run our defense. But so I said to June the other day, I said, June, we got like the first day we got run period. And he looks at me like, can I throw some screens in? I said,
Of course.
like,
right?
well, I get because I think runs are going to be scarce probably in the league.
This league's
They
about
want-
excitement. Fan, I mean,
Yeah, they want to throw.
if
They want
you're
to see
gonna
the ball in the air.
You don't want to run the ball 50 times in a game, Coach. I mean, line
No.
up with the fullback, ISO blocks. I mean, listen,
That's
I'm
when
old
I
school as
played.
it gets at the
yeah,
tight
that's why
end,
I'm
but
all beat up.
exactly.
Right.
I mean, so listen, you see you're in college game. You
Right.
come from that spread. I mean, it's just everything that everybody's doing now. Those years that I've watched the college game, I thought to myself, why in the hell would anybody want to spread out and do these things? But you see with the RPOs now and the way they utilize stuff and the simplification they have with their offenses. Kids
is.
coming out of college don't get a lot of that next level stuff. So it's like, how do we blend in what the NFL's doing, right? With
Right.
great minds like Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur and how they're kind of implementing their offenses, but also blend it where like, okay, a lot of these guys we brought in are coming from college game and they have some exciting systems. How can we blend that and make it just as good? So as much as I want to run the ball and do all those, tight power blocks and gap schemes, I also am like, man, we got to make sure that, we keep eyeballs on this and we can really make it explosive as possible.
And I think with our league, the XFL, you still can get away with many of the college schemes and offensive stuff that you do. Running the quarterback, not as much, but you can run him. Obviously in the NFL, they ain't running zone reads and all that stuff. But I still think in our league, you can still get away with it.
Another thing I really love about the different phases of what this league is about, Brian Westbrook, former longtime running back with the Eagles, about the player development side,
Right.
and not the football side, but football's going to end. What's the next phase? You weren't quite sure. Football's all I know. For me, it was the same way. Like I didn't really I had all these skills. Right. But you don't know what those skills bring value to the outside world. So what Brian's doing and developing different programs for the players, we'll have weekly, things set up for the guys to kind of, whether it's resume building or whatever that may be, because, quite frankly, that's information I would love to have.
We
because I
had
learned that
Ryan
on my
meet
own.
with a player that wanted to play in the league, but I wanted him to do a background check on the kid and see if he's a good kid and anything. Brian did that, spent a whole day with him. And came back, gave us a thumbs up on him. So it's, you're doing your research on the guy too, and make sure we got the right people in the building.
Yeah, and that just shows that the league, the owners, the executive, they care, right? Because they put a person in that role, and what a great person to put in that role,
Yeah, no
right?
doubt.
He's an outstanding player, and we've had a chance to talk with him, and I think he's going to do a good job for us and the players.
Any player you're excited about? I got a couple on my roster, even though I haven't seen a lot of them yet.
Yeah, and that's one of the things. I mean, there's a good bit of guys that we're excited about. Obviously, just every league you got to have your quarterbacks and those guys, and I think we got three good ones: De'Eric and Timo and Dungy,
Dungy,
guys
Eric
that we
Dungy.
feel really good about. But I'm just looking forward to learning these guys' personalities, being around them, what's important to them, and what are their goals and things that they want to achieve. So, just excited about that.
Anybody on your roster?
Yeah, we got
A couple players I wanted on both of your rosters, by the
Oh,
way.
yeah,
that you guys
I know,
picked
right?
out, so.
Well, we got Ben DiNucci, who played with Dallas, who I think is really good, and Steven Montez, who's with the Lions right now. We're hoping to get him back. And there's a bunch of guys that, being in the league up to last year, the guys like Jordan Evans, we drafted when I was with the Bengals. Drafted him in the third round, started for the Bengals and had an unfortunate injury, tore his ACL. He was out a year. He's playing with us. So he just needs to be on tape. He needs to get on tape because he hasn't played in a year. So there's guys like that. We got a bunch of guys like that. And I do think our rosters, I actually looked at all the rosters and I thought, okay, I think ours is really pretty good roster. That's pretty good there. Oh, they're pretty good. San Antonio's pretty good. So I think there's a good flux of talent all through
parity be
Parity,
great too in
yeah.
the league.
Yeah,
we want good
I really
games.
do. Because at first I thought, oh, we got better players than they got. Now I looked, I'm like, oh yeah, well, you always think that way.
Right,
Oh yeah, you guys you drafted are better than theirs.
Right.
But when you look at it and
Right.
you take it, oh, it's a pretty good group. There's some really good players. Usually there's about 365 players get drafted in free agency, and that about 120 make it, 120 go into practice squad, the other 120 are looking for jobs. 2 years ago when COVID hit, there was like 890 players came out and nobody could get a job.
Oh, yeah.
There's only so many jobs. So there's so many players out there right now that are good players that eventually get into where they should be. But because of the situation, they were out in the street. And I thought it's a good year to get involved in a league like this and build it up fast.
And that's why this is necessary, this league,
Yeah.
the XFL, just for that reason that you said. There's a backlog of so many guys that were good players, good college players, good NFL players, might have played a year or two, but now they're out and just need an opportunity to show their worth, and that's why I'm excited about the XFL.
You know, there's a couple players, you guys talked about your quarterbacks. When I was going through the process thinking, okay, do I want a quarterback that can move? Is our line going to be okay? Do I want a guy that, can process information? And then, A.J. McCarron was out there and, look, this guy's played in the league every year for 7 seasons. But the one thing about A.J., championship pedigree for us was important.
Mm-hmm.
A great leader. He's been all our Zoom meetings, he's on it, he's engaged. And I was worried, 30-year-old quarterback, you're thinking, okay, he's a little older. How much is he going to be all in on? He's been great. But another thing is, everywhere he's been, he kind of had where he was kind of in the mix, got an injury, something held him back. He's got a lot of tread on the tires to play the position. And one thing that was kind of unique about him, he's like, you know what, man? He's like, this actually sounds like a great idea because I got an 8-year-old. He's got three boys. They have never seen him play football.
Oh, wow.
So now it's like, man, now they get to see him on the field. And I think that's kind of a hungry thing because, now your kids are watching you. And, I remember my son was watching my daughter, they kind of like, Dad, you jumped off sides on that play. What happened on that,
Right.
Or great touchdown catch. Those are memories my kids will always have. So I think that's special for him.
I was with AJ in Cincinnati.
There you were.
I thought AJ was one of the best athletes on our team. We had a situation one year with AJ Green. A couple of the receivers got hurt and nicked up, and we moved AJ into the slot to play wideout.
Oh, wow.
We're not doing that, by the way.
No,
Right.
but he was as good as receiver as we had on the team. He is a really good athlete, great person, smart.
He's super smart too. So
Yeah,
like
he's ridiculous
processing
smart.
your blitz packages and what you guys are going to be doing. I mean, those things keep us up. Coach Williams and his blitz package. I mean, it's coming. So you got to be prepared for it. And kind of my philosophy too was like, I know there's so many great players or good players that are hungry. We saw in the showcases, but like guys that are really close, like left college, made it all the way to the last cuts,
Right.
of the NFL. I'm like, they're that close, right? And they're hanging on during this process, trying to get picked up, and we're trying to lure them in, say, listen, the time has come. Don't be on your butt for a year and not play football.
Right.
Come play in our league. And those guys that bought into that process, I'm excited for them, because they're so close, but they just need more film or they didn't get enough reps. You know how training camp is. Like you see good players like, man, that kid was pretty good, but he can't find his way. He can't get on. And they're all thinking they're playing the positions they came into play when they should be living in the special teams room, where now they're going to get that chance. So we're going to bring so much to the table for these guys and with our staff to just, trying to get them over that hump. And, I'm excited. They're checking in now. So,
Yeah.
To get them on the field and ramp them up and, see if a guy's really weighing what he's supposed to weigh is a good weight or, hopefully they pass all the physicals and we can get every one of them back so we don't have to find any more players. But it's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the process has been good.
I guess the most important thing people want to know is who's going to win the championship, right? Like, who's got the best team? I mean,
Well, you're the favorite. You're the favorite.
Am I the odds-on favorite, or am I the?
No, you're the
Yeah,
you're the
favorite, man.
We're
Really?
second.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Right. So you're saying, hey, first game, right? Get a big win. I mean, what are you going to get dumped with? Pedialyte?
Pedialyte, yeah, exactly.
Pedialyte, that's right.
Terramite. Well, I'll
whole
take dump
bucket.
that Pedialyte on me, man.
Yeah.
I got a funny story about Pedialyte. When I was in Arizona, like I was older, and the hamstrings were always an issue.
Oh,
Don't
yeah.
ask me why I'm not fast. You're laughing over there.
Because
I wasn't a
white guy.
runner, but it was just
Like,
it was
hamstrings?
aged
You got hamstrings?
I did, yeah. Later in my career, and I was like, yeah, how do I counter this? And I was like, man, Pedialyte. So no one was really drinking that. And man, I went from getting a case for me to the whole team. It was the fridges were full of them. I was drinking one in the morning, one at lunch, one. I probably overdid it, but
Pedialyte is good for cramps as well.
yeah, that's why. I mean,
that's
just
another reason why it's good for this league and good for the players.
electrolytes, all that stuff. I loved it. I mean, seriously, it was a cornerstone for me as I got older for some reason, and it became a trend in Arizona, and I never stopped.
My kids never saw me play, but they were around when I was coaching. So I'd let them come on the field and they'd run around. And my son was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years old, and he was a quarterback and he wanted to throw, and he played quarterback in high school and college, but he got kind of tutored. I made these two coaches kind of tutor him on Saturday. It was Sean McVay and Matt LaFleur.
Two outstanding ones.
How about that?
Yeah.
So they were on our
your
staff.
Weren't they on your staff in that spring, or one of them was Sean?
Sean was on, yeah. Sean,
So it was your
Sean.
tree.
Yeah,
It's
from
your tree,
your
right?
Sean,
How about that?
Where were you then when he was?
I worked one year in another league.
Oh, okay, and he was
Sean
there.
was
Yeah,
on
that's
there,
right.
and I had Jay Gruden.
That's right.
Yeah, we had a good staff.
Yeah, that is a good
And then,
staff. All those offensive minds. Jay
and then
Gruden
we
is
all
good
worked
as well.
together with the Redskins,
Right.
and Matt and Sean and Jay. And so it was. Yeah,
And
it was
I got
good
a good mix on my staff. I have those veteran guys,
Yep.
coaches,
Yeah.
but I have some hungry young guys.
I got some good young guys too.
Just passionate. I mean, I would love to
I got
have
some
that
guys
story.
I got some guys that'll go to the next level.
Yeah.
Young guys that'll
Right.
they'll
That's
move
good.
up.
Yeah.
And that's part of this whole league too, right?
Yeah.
It's not just players.
No.
It's the young coaches.
That's exactly right.
It's the video, whoever's helping in the aspect, trainers, all those different things. So
League of opportunities.
They're going to love the young
opportunity.
coaches in this league.
Yeah, I
It
think so,
really
too.
is. There's some
Yeah.
really good
Yeah.
coaches.
And then the guys that, the director player personnel guys that have been scouts and stuff for most of their career, but now they get an opportunity to, put a team together. So, I'm excited for those guys as well.
We're talking about our cities and our fan bases, and I think I have the best fan base. We do have strong fan bases in our cities. The one thing that has been kind of stapled in my mind since day one when I got the job was our team slogan. So we got this cacaw, this cacaw.
Yeah.
I mean, every day someone's cacaw, hashtagging cacaw. And I didn't want to say it because, I wanted to make sure, obviously, we wanted that the team name was going to be the same throughout the process. So from hiring from the day one from February, the whole year went by. And I'm like, man, I was kind of dying to say it, but I really didn't say much of it. But cacaw, that's kind of our sign there. So I'll tell you, the fans are so passionate about that, and it's become a staple. So now I heard there's some type of hawk or eagle, all these things flying around and say, So I'm anxious when we get there to see exactly what we're going to build around it, and that game day atmosphere is going to be really special. But cacaw, that's kind of that's where we're at. Do you guys?
I'll try to remember the cacaw when we play against you guys. But yeah, it's the same way. DC, man, the fans are excited. DC defenders, you got guys walking around with shields and all type of stuff on. Obviously, being in the capital, lots of great places to visit, lots of great places to eat there. Then we got this thing called the beer snake, Jim, and this thing here is
What is
pretty
a beer
lit.
snake?
So basically what they do is there's a section in the end zone there at Audi Stadium, and they start with the first beer. Once you drink your beer, they bring the cup and you stack it. And by the end of the game, the dang beer snake is from the bottom of the stands all the way to the top. With
I think I remember that when they were
empty
doing.
cups of that much beer. After a win,
Yeah, you got to get one.
I'm gonna drink a beer and I'm gonna put
Stack it on the top.
On the top.
That would actually be pretty cool. That would be good.
So I might do that at the first game.
That's pretty good. Matter of fact, I'll put the cup on for you. That's pretty good.
That's funny. The Sea Dragons, I do think we got the coldest uniforms by far. I mean, it's not even close. But That's just me. The fan base, the fans coming out, and how loud it is, and then obviously playing at that stadium before, it's hard to hear. And obviously the fan base, again, people coming to the games, it's gonna, I think gives the home team an advantage. So I'm fired up, about playing up there. It's a great place.
A dome, I think that's so crucial. I think there's such an advantage because you don't have to fill the place up.
Yeah.
But it is going to be full. But how
gotta
loud
cover
it
up,
gets,
though, right?
you're right. The Super Bowl, I mean, the dome is a factor. Playing in San Antonio, I'm already thinking about week one, we got to get ready right for this noise level,
right?
And stuff like that. But it's
here's what you don't have to battle. When I was there, I'd go out for warm up, and there'd be 20,000 people in the stands. And you're like, well, where's everybody?
Right.
Well, when the Cardinal game's over, they all come over.
Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
there's like 20,000 people, and then the Cardinal game's over, and there's 65,000 people. They all come over.
They love their baseball there, too.
They do.
Oh,
Great sports town.
Yeah, it is.
I grew up being a Cardinals fan. I'm from Pittsburgh, but Bob Gibson and all that stuff. So, yeah.
I got to go to a Cardinals game during the process. That was right when Albert Pujols was right about 700 home runs. It was pretty cool. He actually went on a little streak. When I threw out the first pitch, he kind of hit like five or so home runs over the next 7 days. So
was it a strike, though? Did you throw a strike?
Well, it depends what angle you look at, the camera angle. If you watch it from the stands, from those cameras, it was just outside the plate. If you watched it from behind, it was probably I told I don't know, with the bird, I was like, he was getting in the box. I was like, don't be in the box. I was like, I don't want to be that guy.
Was you nervous at all?
Well, you know what I was? We were throwing the baseball in the hotel, with my PR guy, Brian Stully. And when I got there, I was like, all right, I'm just going to do it nice and easy. But, we're competitive, man.
Right.
And they had a couple other people do it before me. Like there was a few people throwing out the first pitch, but I was the last one. It's like, you know what? I feel good. Like I was throwing some strikes.
Kick?
Yeah, I was like, I was a baseball player growing up too. I was like, I'm going to I can put some heat on this. And it got away from me. And I started to kind of hitch at the end there, and it went inside. But between that and we did a big tour of the city. Went to Budweiser plant. We went to the Arch, the Hills. The Hill, man.
The Hill.
Some of the food down
Best
there.
food in the world.
I'm telling you, man. I was like, veal parm is my go-to meal, Italian meal. And then we went to multiple spots, and I probably had it 3 times over that span. But I can't wait. It's a great city, and they're so upset about losing the football team, and they were upset about losing, when the XFL, the 2.0 version went away, and the juice around it is just phenomenal. And I think every city, is honing in, but it's going to be a fun ride, man. It's going to be a good journey.
All the head coaches have played, professional football. You've got Hines, Rod, the 3 of us. I mean, there's a lot of coaches in the NFL that never played, and kind of worked their way up and don't know what it's like to go through, the things you go through every day. So I do think it's an advantage to the players that you've done it.
Right.
You've been there. Yeah. You understand what they're going through. People, I tell them all the time, I know what you've gone through. I know how sore you are. I know, that we can't do this, or we can't practice this way, because you've been there and you've done that.
I want every one of my players to go play in the NFL.
Right.
And they're and when you say that, the fans get kind of crazy. They're like, well, what do you mean? This is our league. We don't want to. But you know what? If we coach them up right and they become the players they're supposed to be, guess what? They're going to go play at the highest level. Yeah. That would be great, because there's so many more players we can bring in the next time. But that partnership, I think we had like a 10% jump in the AAF when I was coaching in there into the NFL, and it was perfect. And you talked about the calendar, how it aligns. I mean, you can jump into the early stages of OTAs and you don't miss a beat, but you're not getting pounded because you got to jump right into training camp of the NFL. So, we're going to have a lot of the rules are going to be very similar to the NFL, but we have our own. We talked about all the tweaks that we have to make it a little more fun, exciting, and really there's some things that the NFL want to try that we can do that in our league as well. But I just think, having that alignment, and then again, every year there's going to be 400, 500 guys that get released in preseason and they need a home. Where are they going to go? And again, we talk about they're that close. Now they come back to us, and hey, a lot of our guys on our rosters, they got NFL experience,
Right.
but it just wasn't enough yet. But they got more in the tank. Now they can come to us, reboot, kind of get to where they want to be, and go right back again.
Get game tape.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
why I tell these guys.
Game film, exactly.
Yeah, even guys in the NFL in their practice squad.
Come down.
You've done that. That's practice.
Right.
You ain't playing. That's
Right.
practice. You're reading a card and doing what the other team does.
Right.
Come play 10 games. Showcase yourself. Get it on film, and then go back. All right.
Recent film, because some of the guys we've taken,
Yeah.
some of the film's a little old,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
would love to have if you're at the next level. Like, well, when's the last time you played? Well, coach, I just
2-3
played
years
3
on a
months ago.
practice squad. Then guess what? Well, let's try this guy.
Right.
Exactly, and they're
They
going to
move
roll
on.
into that.
So
Yeah.
you need to show yourself. They need to perform, and no better way to do it. And the timing's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the partnership is going to be cool, and hopefully it'll continue to develop. Like you said, you're not sure where it will be, a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. But just excited that we have that alignment with the NFL, because we know what they bring to the table, and obviously we got something to offer at this point.
We got to make our predictions. Obviously, everybody wants to know who's going to win this thing. We're clearly not going to pick anybody else's team, so I'll just start. We're going to win the championship, number one, because one, we got the best coach in the league. The best head coach in the league. Got to start there, right? Without the best head coach, you're not going to win anything. So I'm going to raise my hand on that one. I take this really seriously. Like I think about this every day. Like, man, like what's the record going to be? How are you going to do it? And I think you guys coaching at the levels you coached at, when you're passionate about something and you put your all in on it, and you try to get the best possible staff around you because you believe in what they're doing, and you guys are on the same page. And you've been in places where things aren't always on the same page, right? And that's where the cancers fall in, and teams break apart, and it trickles down fast. The most important thing is being on the same page with my staff so that our players and everything's in line. And it's hard. It's not easy because not everybody wants to do what you want to do or what I want to do. But if we can do that, we'll run the table, we'll win the championship, and we're going to bring a title home to St. Louis. So that's my prediction for the season, and why.
I am not mad at your prediction. Best coach, best hair.
I'll take that. Hey, that's one title. I'll take a belt for that. We might have a belt on the sideline for the best hair.
I mean, come on, guys. All right, we got so many good coaches. Jim, right? Yeah. We got T-Buck, Hines Ward, we got Hall of Fame, Rod Woodson, Wade Phillips, man. Are you kidding me? All these good coaches yourself, man. Great tears, but DC, man.
You guys got too much out there for me to look at. Where are you starting with me? Our philosophy. Where are you going? Like, what film are you pulling up?
Wing T. We're gonna look at your high school.
See, that's where you say Wing T.
No, we're gonna look at when you were the high school coach, the offensive coordinator. I'm going back to get that film.
Oh, there you go. I gotta make sure they can pull that down on huddle. They don't see it.
Yeah, man.
You got a lot of information out there.
Yeah,
Jim does.
I hope you can find it.
I'll find it.
It's not. Yeah,
it's out there.
Bad.
Jim won't even need a play call sheet now. You've been doing this so long. You don't need it. You know how the coaches do it, but you don't need that, right?
You know what? I do believe I got good coaches. So
right.
It is funny because
coordinator, he's never lost.
Coach Zook.
Worried about that.
I think we're going to win it because we got good players. I think you got to be smart on how you use them, just because of the time frame. It's not like we're going to have 48 practices before the game, first game. But these guys are seasoned veterans. I thought we did a good job. Like I said, I thought everybody did a really good job in the draft. So they're going to see good talent, and it's going to be a good value. And then it's going to come down and guys making plays. And I think our coaching staff will put those guys in spots to make plays.
Week 2, we're going to slay the dragon. And week 3,
there you go.
Break through that shield.
So we got the trifecta going on the first 3 games, huh?
Yeah, we got it going. Yeah. So it should be exciting, man. I mean,
that'll be good.
First game at home, all right, in DC, all the stadiums.
Yeah, you'll play at home in week 10.
That's
right. Yeah, week 10.
A lot of pressure on me to get it done on the road.
Boy, you got to have those away jerseys, man. Them things going to be worn out by the time.
Torn up. No, they won't be torn. They're Under Armour. Why would they? They'd be the best jerseys out there.
The best jerseys, man. But,
they do got some. They got some.
They got some good stuff.
Yeah,
they got some good stuff.
The best. They got shoes are awesome. Yeah. I love wearing their stuff. So,
Well, hey,
man,
good
yeah.
luck.
All
Congrats
right,
on
man.
second
You
place.
too.
Congrats on third place.
Damn,
I'll take my
you
championship.
put me in third place.
That's all right.
Well, I had this
least you-
experience.
at least
you got it right.
He's older, you know. What can I say?
Yeah.
That
Well,
shit's got to get me somewhere. Though.
I know, right? Well,
I
good
like
luck,
to
man.
have-
It should
good
be
luck to you
fun.
guys,
Look
man.
forward
You
to
too.
meeting you guys on the field at midfield prior to the
Wow.
game and dap you up. Won't hold you
course,
long,
yeah.
you know. So
Win, lose, or draw, man. We got to do it.
DC by
Are
40.
you going to give me a quick hug and walk away, or is it going to be
Depends.
like? Do you actually whisper something in somebody's ear, or is that all fake? What is that?
Well, you know, I went
This
to
will be my
Alabama.
first time doing it, so.
You know, I went to Alabama State, and our coach, you know, when he go to get the bro hug with Dion prime time.
I saw that.
So that's me. I don't want your bro hugs. Did you see
I'm
it?
staying away.
Hey, I'm smiling either way, man. You know, it's all fun, man.
Yeah,
But,
I know, man.
yeah, I'm interested to see what I get from you and you after the game.
Yeah.
Because we're going to have to travel back together. So we're going to have to see each other for the rest of the night. So we're going to be
Right.
Oh,
Terramani. We'll get a little, we'll take a little bit of that
Terramani,
after the
yeah.
game.
Definitely.